do monitor the property, and if levels do change, we put down respirators. You could just help out with the question.
Sure. Where you are in relation to the meeting the other night, digging down to 4 feet in water, what's going on there? What are you finding? What's the contaminants? Bring us through that whole process that you need to give us this solution.
Well, currently, we've removed approximately 23,000 tons of impacted material from the property. We are currently removing about 1,000 tons a day. You see the trucks lined up. We're moving anywhere between 40, 50, 60 trucks on any given day, taking out material off the property. A lot of discussion has been made of the material that's been put on the property. We are intimately aware of that material. It does have some, signature characteristics that I don't really want to go into because it is the subject of a litigation matter. I think it's important to note that all of that material is being removed. All the impacted material that has been placed there is being removed that we have identified. We are getting down to depths of 4 to 5 feet, as was written in the letter, where we are encountering groundwater. Mary's 100% correct. There is, ways to go about doing that, but I think it's also very important to note that the remedy that's being imposed here is exceptionally protective of human health and the environment. The department has presumptive guidance remedies, and I'm talking about the Department of Environmental Protection, has what they call presumptive guidance remedies for sites such as this, schools, parks, and they would call for, the DEP would call for a cap of just 2 feet. They would deem a cap of 2 feet being protective of human health and the environment. Coupled with that, the US EPA has a cleanup standard of 1 part per million, which is obviously higher than the 0.2 that we were trying to achieve. It's only those areas that we are excavating down to 4 to 5 feet and encountering substantial groundwater that we are proposing to leave between 1 and 10 parts per million of material in the ground. To leave it in the ground, we're going to put a clay cap that has a very low permeability on it. We will then put 4 feet of clean quarry-derived stone on top of that. We will lay another demarcation layer on top of that. And on top of that, we're going to lay 2 to 3 feet of additional clean quarry stone prior to the amenities being put in place. So you will have anywhere from 4 to 7 feet of clean material sitting on top of this lower layer.
Can you please explain to the public why it is that we're continuing to dig, or why you have to dig so deep?
The intent of this exercise, to be honest, was to take it to 0.2 parts per million. We understand that. We get that. That was the goal of what was being, sought. But once you enter groundwater and the sediments become liquid, you either have to dewater, and the size of these excavations are not small. We're talking excavations that are hundreds of feet in length, tens of feet in width. And everyone who goes past the facility knows how big the south parking lot is. When you start filling a tub like that full of groundwater, you would be pumping excessive amounts of water out of the excavation, and then you need to continue to excavate, and there's no guarantee that you're going to hit clean material at depth. Because one thing that I think has been kind of glossed over, if you will, from just a perception standpoint, is that there was historic fill on the property. And that historic fill contains contaminants, and it has been documented by the prior consultant that a deed notice was going to be placed on this property even before we began our work to address waste neutral compounds that are commonly associated with historic fill. So, the depth of excavation is really determined. This remediation is being driven by the PCB issue because the EPA has activity and use limitations based on the concentrations of PCBs. If PCBs exceed 10 parts per million, you can't be on that park more than 6.7 hours per week. That's not acceptable. If you have concentrations between 1 and 10 parts per million, the US EPA views that as high occupancy use, and you can use that park. Now, the DEP, for whatever mechanisms they use, they come up with 0.2 parts per million, which as their residential most stringent standard. But their non-residential standard is 1 part per million. So to take it to a residential standard at 5 feet below ground surface, at least from our perspective, does not make a whole lot of sense because there is a dollar cost value to it and there is a human health and safety aspect of it. And when you're not jeopardizing human health and safety because the stuff will remain at a total cumulative depth of about 7 feet below grade, to us, it did not seem to make sense to undergo that excessive dewatering time delays to get to the park where it needs to be.
Tom, did you hit historical fill already?
We are currently in historical.
So the historic fill, once you reach the groundwater, that area is the area that we are calling historic fill.
Historically, if you look at historic maps of this area, you know, the whole park, or a good substantial part of the park, was part of the river. And it was filled many years ago to add land to Edgewater. And now that fill, that historic fill that was placed, we're encountering that at about 4 to 5 feet.
Is it safe to say that you're capturing, and Tim, of course, is special counsel for us, if you want to jump in on this, are you capturing the data on, or the DNA signatures of the difference of what Waterside put in, and if it's majority of it, if it's all of it, so be it, but are you comfortable and clear through science that you know and are going to be able to put to litigation what they're responsible for?
My perspective, I really don't want to discuss, I don't think discussing the signature or how that material got there, whether it's all, you know, whether it's part of historic fill or has migrated downward from the recent fill that was put on the property. I think it was adequately demonstrated, you know, 2 years ago that there was base neutral compounds in the historic fill that were going to be left in place.
Yeah, but just from the litigation perspective, in terms of this specific area, we don't know yet what we're encountering at 4 or 5 feet, whether it's historic or whether it's something from what Davies put on. But the point of the matter is, regardless, this is the remedy that will be selected, and this is the remedy that's in the defending court. And so, with this particular issue, especially, you know, this North parking lot issue, First Environment selected the remedy that would be for this problem regardless of who caused it, because from a common sense perspective, we have to defend whatever remedy we do, and this is the remedy that the EPA will approve, and it's the remedy that makes sense. So we'll address those other issues later on as we move forward.
I'm just looking down the list here. Could you make sure you talk to Environment, I'm sorry, ENC, ENR, about the fencing? And Greg, you need to talk to a construction official who just sweep by it every night to check the fences. Peter, there's actually barricades now on the north section now. There's no more fencing, maybe because of that, maybe because of your less.
The fencing contract has been notified. We've been tangling with them over the last couple of weeks, but it'll get done.
But please, just kind of recap what you're talking about in terms of the limited areas, limited scope, because it's important that we're not, all right, let's put it differently. Is it safe to say that 95% of the field is going to remain at the .2, which we were allowed to go up to .10, but we're staying at .02 because we committed to it. We're sticking with it, except for the few areas that you've hit groundwater. Kind of make that crystal clear because it's important.
Everything that is above the groundwater table is going to be removed from .2 park. It's only that material, and I do want to stress that, it's only the material that is below the water table and is indicative of either naturally occurring or historic fill or some other mechanism that got down there that's going to remain in place between 1 and 10. If something exceeds 10 parts per million, we're going to have to dig that out as well,
Right.
even if it's below the water table. Now, a lot of the data suggests that that's not going to be the case, thank God. But, you know, it is important to stress that you're going to have 7 feet of clean material with demarcation barriers above any material that's left in place.
I don't think you two are gentlemen qualified to address the astroturf, and I apologize for talking over you, but that's what happens here. I do want to point out that the astroturf is not, we don't know the name of the company because the bid just went out and we haven't received the bids back yet, so that's the answer to that question. Is there anything you want to add with regard to the Little League field?
The little field tested clean. I mean, if there's questions about astroturf, you're 100% correct. We're not in a position to discuss it.
Tim, is there any members of this board or this council that are asking you to remove anybody from the litigation, and who currently is on the litigation named?
Well, in terms of the DAB's entities, it's Mr. DAB's, Waterside, North River News, DAB's Brothers. I think those are all the DAB's entities.
As far as that group, then you have Alcoa, what else? Who else?
We have Alcoa in terms.
In terms?
And then
County of Bergen.
Waterside sued Neglier. We just got that in this week.
Waterside, so they're going to
And the county sued, Alcoa sued the county or some kind of county development agency. And we just got that in with, but I'll be providing.
with regard to this?
Yeah.
Part? Okay.
But in terms of, we've named several Waterside related entities.
I just want to point out that Tim is in closed session tonight. That's why he's reporting on these things that we're here for the first time, because that's why he's here tonight. Can I ask you a favor? Do you anticipate any of these people being taken off?
Non-voluntarily.
Yeah. Would you make a commitment to come into public and just say if we asked you to, or if in fact happens, would you please come to that first meeting and let us know, because it's not going to happen as far as any of us are concerned.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you.
What is voluntary?
Council, anybody have any other questions?
Just want to say with regards to the asphalt turf, as many articles that you may find with the negative feedback on the product, we can find thousands more on its beneficial use. And as a matter of fact, I believe it's the number 68% of the colleges and universities that have pro sports, sports, not pro sports, but sports, use artificial turf. And we're talking about universities and colleges throughout the country. That's my position on that.
If I could say something about the cemetery. I attended the walkthrough, the original walkthrough with the committee, and what I found there was a place that was neglected, in my opinion, for years and years. I mean, this place was a mess.
Do you want to see the pictures?
I was there.
No, do you want to see the
Just
pictures of the
make your
damage?
point, please,
can
and don't
provide
respond.
them.
This is what I saw a few weeks ago, a place with the headstones turned over. It was in terrible shape. And I didn't notice where I could say I saw any construction debris on the site. Were there some walls that, looked a little shaky or so, that's possible, but I didn't see any construction debris in the cemetery. But the place was just a mess. And it was neglected, in my opinion, for years and years. So it should be attended to.
I have no reason to make this.
Okay, I just also want to point out, Ms. Mitchell, you made a comment that, 4 fields, and so what? Your opinion is we should even do one afterthought. Just want to be clear, it's just a Little League field, it's not the big field. It's just one, not 4, you mentioned 4.
What are you going to do with the other field?
Okay, so any other questions, Nancy?
They won't answer.
Yeah, grass, sod, grass, natural grass. The big field, the original fields, the original Pony League and 2 Little League fields.
Toxic chemicals, so put it on the Little League field.
Okay, any other questions? Gentlemen, thank you so much, I appreciate it, for coming for a second time. Thank you. We'll talk to you Friday and give you the conference call. Are they closed?
Unless Tim needs them.
Do you need them? Because other than that, you're good to go.
No.
No. Thank you. Okay, where are we at, Paul? I ask for a motion for the approved minutes of November 10, 2014, regularly closed, and December 1st, 2014, closed, and work session and closed session. Intro, please. Not a special meeting. Right.
Second one by that. Councilman Henlon?
Yes.
Councilman Doran? Yes. Councilman Monte?
Yes.
Councilman Goodell?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan? Councilman Bartolomeo?
Yes.
And just so we don't get to any technical issues. Am I voting as a councilman or what am I? right?
Yes.
You're the council president.
Okay.
In the absence of your mayor, you resign.
Okay.
Do not recuse.
Okay, so even though he has a letter of resignation, when does the mayor come in?
Not yet, buddy.
That has to do with your political party.
Okay, so until that time, I just keep voting as a councilman. All right, just want to make sure. we're good.
So
Thank you.
as
All
long
right,
as
that's
you're
it.
serving as council
Great.
president, you have that right.
Excellent. All right, and are we up to fines?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any receipt of bids?
Yes, Council President. Later on tonight's schedule, we have Resolution 280. We received a bid for one 2015 Ford E450 PL Custom Down Series ambulance. That award will be made later 2 weeks.
Adoption of public hearings and ordinances, there is none. Ask the clerk for communications, Maureen Best.
Yes. We received a letter from Noreen Best, who's the director of the County of Bergen Community Development, and she is reminding you that the mayor is to make an appointment as his rep along with one alternate, and the council also gets to select a member as well as an alternate. So you might want to do a motion for that.
And is that motion signed or next meeting? What do you need?
You needed to.
Okay, and so what, do I just recommend one and the council recommends one? Okay, thank you. Should I do it now?
Now we're
Right.
good to
Yeah,
go.
okay. I'll nominate Kevin Dorn. Am I nominating? We're voting?
Your appointment is Kevin Doran.
Kevin Doran.
And I need an alternate.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
You need to appoint an alternate.
Tony Bartolomeo?
Okay, now the council has an appointment and an alternate. Council appointment.
I can nominate him, I'm a councilman, right? As well? Yeah, that's all right.
Yes. It doesn't have to necessarily be a council mayor or a council person. It can be, for example, Regina Oates was on, just
Oh,
as an
it doesn't have to be the council, mayor.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so who's out? Who's going out? We're not going there.
I think Regina Oates.
Okay.
You might want to make her an alternate. We need a council.
All right, why don't I recommend, nominate Regina Oates for the alternate and Tony Bartolomeo as the permanent for the full one.
She's already the mayor's alternate.
That's my-
Okay, so the mayor's appointment is Kevin Dorlan, alternate Tony Bartolomeo, council appointment Vince Monte, alternate Regina Oates. We have an introduction.
I'll introduce it.
Councilman Dorlan, second.
Second.
Councilman Bartolomeo. Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman Dorlan.
Yes.
Councilman Monte.
Yes.
Councilman Rendell.
Yes.
Councilman Jordan. Yes. And Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, introduction ordinances are none. Committee reports, Councilman Dorn.
No, sir.
Councilman Monty.
I just want to submit a letter from the chief in reference to the monthly work of the police.
So entered, Councilman Fidel. Councilman Bartolomeo. Councilman Jordan, anything to report? No. Thank you. No.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Consent agenda for resolutions 2014 276 through 2014 300. Nothing in there outstanding. You guys have any questions on any of these? Any of the council people? Looking for an intro, please?
I'll introduce it.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilman Henry. Henwood.
Yes.
Councilman Doran.
Yes.
Councilman Monti.
Yes.
Councilman Bedell.
Yes.
Councilman Jordan. You're welcome. Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Any old business? Any new business? Pete, Phil?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Administrative reports, Greg?
Yes, real quickly, as it relates to Resolution 288, part-time plumbing inspector Albanese. Unfortunately, he took a spill on black ice the other day, so he's going to be out for a considerable amount of time. So with the council's consent, we'd like to recommend Michael Corsia, Quercia, as a temporary fill-in part-time plumbing inspector until Mr. Albanese is back on his feet.
What's the procedure for that?
Just the motion.
Motion.
Excuse me, a motion because you already did a consent agenda to appoint Mr. Albanese, and this will be an interim. So
Okay, do we have someone to introduce that, please?
Did he's qualified in it?
Yes.
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 So motion to appoint Michael.
Corsia, Quercia.
As a temporary part-time fill-in plumbing inspector.
Please.
We need an interim.
I'll introduce you.
Councilman Henwood.
Yes.
Councilman Doran.
Yes.
Councilman Monti.
Yes.
Councilman Bedell.
Yes.
Councilman Jordan. Yes. Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, mayor report, well, I'll talk about the letter from Hess, the Hess Group. The developers are looking to buy the Hess Group. There's been several meetings. Mayor Delaney was involved. We all broke up into small groups and met with them. It's a very, very aggressive development. It's a non-starter, quite frankly. He has sent us a letter, and this is Brian Shukatsky. He is the attorney for Gilliland and Mustard. Please be advised, every sign is, he's basically asking for a read. We appreciate the mayor and council considers request to adopt a resolution directing the planning board and the borough of Edgewater to designate the area as an area in need of redevelopment. I'd like to form a committee to look at this. Can I also include other people like the planning board, like the chairman of the planning board, or?
Yes, you just can't have more than 3 people from the council or else you're in
Okay, got that.
violation of the
Okay, so I think that form committee, yes, to look at this, and myself will be on it, and any council member interested in being on it?
I'll get on that.
Wendell? Anybody else? Kevin Doran?
So this is a committee of reference to that.
It's to look at the Hess property, and in terms of the specific request from their the potential buyer's attorney for redesignation, or
Redevelopment area.
designated or developed, correct. I'm going to request, who's planning, Kevin O'Connor?
Kevin
Connor to be on as well? And should Greg be on, or an attorney, or who else should be on? What's the experience here?
Under planner.
City planning, okay, town planner.
Catherine Gregory.
Mr. Chairman, may I also consider Board of Ed rep?
Oh, in fact, did that resolution go on here? Did we just do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution is not.
Yeah, one of the resolutions is from the Board of Ed, is specifically that every project from now on have a study that goes with it. We could have done it all along, but now they're saying, we are telling the boards that we want it every time, impact on the schools. And so that's a resolution that was passed tonight. So good point, yes, something we'll get a representative from them.
So the motion is to form a committee to look at the Hess property in terms of an area in need of redevelopment. The committee would consist of Council President Henwood, Councilman Bedell, Councilman Doran, Kevin O'Connor, Planning Board Chair, Planner Catherine Gregory, and Board of Education rep to be named later, and need an interim. Right? Right, I didn't hear you say right. No. Okay. Interim,
I'll
please.
introduce.
Councilman Monti.
I'll second.
Councilman Vidal.
Roll.
Councilman
Yes.
Henwood. Councilman Doran.
Yes.
Councilman Monti. Councilman Jordan? Councilman Bartholomew?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll call a meeting on that, the first 15 days of the new year. Okay. Borough Clerk.
Yes. Oh, no, no, thank you.
None?
Okay, Mike.
All right.
Thank you.
So do we need to go into closed session? So we need to do a new.
We need to, a motion to go into closed session, and at that time, pending litigation, personnel and contract negotiations will be discussed.
RFQ review?
That would be part of it, yes.
Okay.
We need an intro.
Susan.
Second. Second. Doran. Roll.
Councilman Henwood?
Yes.
Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monty?
Yes.
Councilman Bedell?
Yes.
Councilman Jordan? And Councilman Bartholomew? Motion passes.
Tim or Dave, do either one of you have anything pressing? You guys are good, by the way, you don't need to.
You know, I think Tom should be here.
Okay, so do you mind, Dave, if we do this first? Thank you. We'll take you guys first. Thank you.